Here. I just wanted to make a quick video about some simple cool down exercises and foam rolling. I've been really enjoying the great outdoors, hiking regularly, and one thing that I've been really messing up is I haven't been stretching right after a hike. This leads to so much soreness post-hike that could be avoided. And so I'm going to share with you my favorite post-hike stretches. The first is obvious, and I've talked about it ad nauseum, which is our quad stretch. Usually I get in my box of tools here to show you what the adapted quad stretch would look like if I use a strap, or I could use a yoga strap, or I can use one of these bands, several types of bands. I can use a towel. Working a quad, so relinquishing some of the stress that we've gotten through the downhill, possibly even really steep uphill, so I'm working my quads. When I do my quad stretch, I actually will stretch my chest, I'll stretch my neck a little bit, and I'll stretch my back around. So I try and get the most out of each stretch, and I try and stretch other muscle groups while I'm doing a stretch. Even if it's focused on the quad, I'm trying to move my whole body around. So let's get that other side. So this can be accomplished one hand on the car, one hand on a gate, fence, railing, whatever, one hand on your hiking buddy. If you need to have something, you can just get inventive. All right, after I work my quads, I like to work my hip. And so this one is that gentle four square position. This feels terrible. I haven't stretched this whole week, and sometimes I'll do this standing happy baby hip stretch. And then sometimes I'll get real aggressive and I'll put a little pressure into that thigh. So working the other side. So this will get a little bit of my gluteal. It'll definitely get my outward rotators on the hip. It's not going to work the inner thigh. I have something completely different that I use to work the inner thigh. I fell over. Oh, I fell over again. So really wringing the hip out. Now this one is a Bart original. I'll turn my toes out like a duck, and then I'll do my forward fold, and this will start to work some interesting parts of the calves, interesting parts of the hamstrings. I relax my head and neck, I bend my knees, dropping my chest towards my thighs. One of my favorites. Now when I work the inner thigh, I typically work down into a squat. Now it's the perfect time for a yoga block. This was one thing that I did really well on the trails. I actually dropped down into this squat a few times, and I know that it was very beneficial. I could feel it in the moment, and this works my inner thighs. So does my butterfly, my seated butterfly, but if I don't want to sit on the dirt, if I don't want to sit on the road, the squat is a great place to stretch the inner thigh when you're out and about. Now, if you're at home, butterfly is excellent. All right. Now, I'm usually wearing a backpack when I'm doing my hike, so getting a good chest expansion afterwards. Now, this will actually work towards my lats a little bit too, because they suffer from having the weight right here. So I always relax my chest. Again, I try and get a lot done. I try and move the neck. I try and work the spine. And then to get my lats, stretch over, reach in length out of my fingertips, opening up the waist, but also opening up the armpit region where the lats live, and a little bit of the rotator cuff. So working over to that other side, stretching up and over, stretching all the way through the fingertips, keeping the knees straight, not fully locked, but I'm not bending. Working it out. So I've hit my lats, I've hit my pectoral girdle, my quads, my hips, I've hit the inner thighs, a little bit of the calves and hamstrings. Next, I'd probably work my calf. Now, I've done this in videos before. It's one of my favorite calf stretches, where I'm bending right knee, I'm hinging my hips, I'm actively straightening my left leg and I'm reaching right hand towards the left foot. Egads. Whoa, that is a serious stretch. And this is another place where I could always use a towel or a strap. Let me check it out with my band and see just how powerful this can be. Let's see. Well, I'm getting closer. I won't say that I benefit from this, but I won't say that you won't benefit from this, that it's possible. Let's work that other side. I just have a certain amount of flexibility that's instantaneous. Instantaneous flexibility is different than flexibility at large. For example, we do warm-up exercises so that our flexibility during activity is better. But I don't expect any of my athletes or any of my fitness center members to be instantaneously flexible enough to kick a straight leg march up to shoulder level. That's crazy. Some people never get there, some people are always there, and some people trained to be there. So there's different types of bodies. That's why we always go slow, think about yourself, don't take unnecessary risks. Always think about yourself. All right, so we hit our calves, our quads, our hips, our inner thighs, did a little bit of the glute, the pectoral girdle, the lats, a little bit of the obliques. Lastly, I'd probably do something like a back extension, something to kind of, I know we did a little bit of that with the chest expansion, but a little open the throat. Typically on the trail, I'm focused forward or down, and so just getting a good spinal extension. Rocking it out. All right, I'm gonna highlight 3 exercises on our foam roller. The first will be the calves. So with this one, I put my feet up, my calves up on the foam roller. I rock and I roll. I breathe. I can always make this more challenging by crossing one leg over and putting my entire body weight force into it, or at least the other leg's body weight force into it. And I'll do this repeatedly several times in a night after a hike when I'm on my game. When I'm off my game, I just screw up, just like other people. It's fine. We're only human. So working that other leg. And I've been doing a lot of downhill, so I've been working with my shock absorber, so I'm gonna go into the IT band now. So I actually will go above the knee, below the hip. So the medius portion of the central thigh. So I'll put my weight into the foam roller. I can always put all my weight into the foam roller. Sometimes I'll put a foot on the foam roller, behind, in front of. It's really hard stretch. It's painful. It's nobody's favorite, but it's really good for the knee. If you've been doing a lot of shock absorption, so downhill, then you gotta work this group. The IT band actually inserts into the gluteals, and so it's kind of like your side butt. I always like to use that tiny little joke when I have a new audience. That way people don't take themselves too seriously. So I'm working that other side. All right, and like I said earlier, I typically use a backpack, and so the last place that I'll highlight today would be central spine, T-spine. So I'll take the foam roller behind, I'll set it in the inferior angle of the scapula, and I'll support the head and neck, I'll lift my hips, and I'll roll out that area of the wing. So not lower back, not neck, upper back. I support the head and neck the whole time. Sometimes I might stop and do a back extension over. This feels different with elbows in versus elbows wide, and so I do both. Sometimes I'll lift my hips up and I'll grind down, getting those trap muscles, just leaving the pressure there still. And then I might just do a tiny little rock. All right, so these are some of my favorite post-hike stretches. They're good for obviously walking, running, and after your workout. But try some of them out. Feel free to ask me questions and stay tuned. We'll have more content coming your way. All right, have a great day.